have to say that whether or not they should, I'm glad they are mixing, and it certainly is something that it seems like they need to do to communicate with this generation.
Well, I think you're right on that score. That is, strategically for the politician, and what do you want to do? You want to reach people, and this is the way to reach people. It's one of the best ways to reach people. So on that level, sure, but taking a broader and longer point of view, I'm not sure this is all that great for democracy. You know, that when we turn, when political leaders become friends of comedians and hang out together and mug together, doesn't that turn democracy into a joke?
Well,
That's
when more people get their news from The Daily Show...
Oh, my God, yes.
...and Stephen Colbert than the news, obviously that makes a statement, but isn't it the fault also of the news to some extent?
It is to some extent, and you may not like this answer, but to some extent it's the fault of television because it's very hard to do a lot of serious discourse on television. We've got 4
Don't we know
it to do this.
I was going to say, obviously, you haven't been watching for the past hour and a half. No, I'm just... John Ehrlichman, you're based out there in L.A. You talk to the Hollywood folks all the time. I mean, there is traditionally... There has been a cozy relationship between Hollywood and Washington in many ways.
Well, except that they try to leave the politics out of it, and I think that goes to the point you guys were talking about. But you don't want to do it any other way because for most of these shows, let's leave The Daily Show out of it first. And we're talking about the traditional late-night shows. These are sketch shows. These are comedy shows. These are shows that people might be interested in watching a politician on, but the hope is for most of these hosts that you won't know if they vote Democrat or Republican, and then you end up having these lighter conversations. So long as the politician doesn't get into too tricky a territory, just as much as the host doesn't get into too tricky a territory, things work out okay. So that's why they push the fun, and certainly Jimmy Fallon really pushes the fun, which then appeals to the online audience as well, which, you know, discovers a lot of his stuff.
But hasn't this been happening really forever? I mean, on the one hand, you've got actors who've become politicians, some of our best in the history of the United States, right? Plus, you've got always had the argument...
That's a matter of debate. We won't have that debate right now.
Argument between the people who want profits, say at CBS, and Edward Murrow. So you've got that issue that's always been around since the beginning of media.
Well, absolutely not. I mean, Ronald Reagan was the actor who became president in 1980, and that was the big sea change that led to a kind of an overwhelming escalation over the decades of politicians acting as celebrities.